How Do You Live is a book written by Genzaburo Yoshino, originally published in 1937 and has recently gained attention because of Hayao Miyazaki, a famous animation director, is basing his next film on it. It wasn't until this year, 84 years after the original release, that this book received an English translation, which is the version that I read. I wasn't even a quarter of the way through the book before I realized it would be one of my favorite books that I have ever read. I would highly recommend this book to everyone, no matter what age you are. The words of wisdom in this book are important. The lessons this book can teach through Copper, the main character, is incredible. There are 3 lessons from this novel that really spoke to me, but be aware that there are many more in the book, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. 1. Pain is something we should be thankful for. Despite the fact that no one likes experiencing pain, it is your body signaling that something is wrong and needs to be treated. To add to this, we know things matter because we can become sad. We feel sadness because life matters. 2. Feel how you feel. We are all human beings, and we will all experience a wide range of emotions during life. One cannot hold back these emotions or ignore them. You should never feel embarrassed or ashamed of what you are feeling. 3. You won't regret action. You will seldom regret being kind. I believe we all have many moments where we regret that we didn't do anything, that we didn't help someone who needed help and just stood idly by. Whether it was an acquaintance, stranger, or a friend, we must be kind. We regret too often that we were mean or didn't help. However, no one ever regrets being kind. This, once again, is only 3 lessons. The book contains more material than just this, but I felt like these were important to discuss. These are lessons all need to learn in life, and that's why I recommend this book to everyone. But part of these lessons, and what the book even says, to truly understand, one has to experience it firsthand. Towards the beginning of the book, Copper's uncle writes that you can know why water is hot or cold. It's how fast the molecules move. But you can't describe the feeling of cold water. You can't describe a color. You have to actually experience it. This does not undermine the importance of hearing these lessons. They are just as useful whether or not you have actually experienced these things. I praise this book for being such an interesting read. Not at one point did I feel bored or waiting for something to happen. It is a big story on a small scale. We follow Copper as he navigates his 15th year of life, while his uncle writes to him giving him advice. Along with the story, you will also be exposed to philosophy, astronomy, and how to cook fried tofu. It is beautiful how everything is intertwined to tell this heartwarming tale. This book came out because the team behind it wanted to make a book about ethics and philosophy for kids, but Yoshino didn't believe kids would want to read a 300-page textbook and wrote this into a story. I believe this makes the themes and messages more impactful. The structure, the writing, and the translation are all perfect. I empathize with and even feel like Copper. At one point he thinks of how connected the world is, how every product in his room came from somewhere, and was made and transported by so many hands. The people who got the milk all the way to his house, he will never know most of them. Everyone is connected to everyone in some way. I found myself also looking around at everything in my room, thinking of how far it had to travel to get to me, how many people worked to get it here, that I will never know. This thought even included the book in my very hands. I will not spoil anything because it is very worth it to read this story and read all of these character interactions, but I appreciate Copper's final struggle in the end very much. The way he thinks about it is saddening but also relatable. Also, Copper's interactions with Uragawa and how they became friends is one of the sweetest and one of my favorite parts about the book. I am beyond happy that Hayao Miyazaki is adapting this film. I've read the source material for a few of his movies, and I honestly believe he is one of the best people out there to turn a book into a movie. Somehow, no matter how far his story goes from the source material, he stays faithful to the messages and characters. I feel a good feeling to know that a book that impacted me so much also impacted him as well, even though we are on opposite sides of the globe. As this book teaches, everywhere you go, people are people. I want to leave off with a quote from the book. In the same way, when a person is living in a way that's not normal for a human being, suffering and hardships of the heart let us know that. So then, thanks to that pain and suffering, we can clearly grasp what a human being should naturally be. If it weren't natural for people to live together in harmony, then why would we suffer when we felt a lack of harmony? If we should try to give a life of love and goodwill towards others, but instead find ourselves driven by hatred and hostility, we feel unfortunate because of that, and for that reason, we suffer. So, I will leave off this review with one final thing. How will you live?